We are not very different. In fact, on the surface, we're pretty much exactly the same. On the surface, I exist thinking about this or that, or wondering or worrying about this or that, but that's just on the surface. And I was watching TV tonight, and I saw that a fellow has created an app for meditation. So you dial into his app and you listen to this meditative thought for about 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you got to spare. And that helps put you in a frame of mind to, help face your day or however, or face even more than that. Facing life and all life's obstacles takes a lot of courage, and it takes actually a little bit more than courage. I mean, it helps to have a certain centering. And I was reading in Osho's book, Awareness, The Key to Living in Balance, exactly how that analogy compares to the ocean. And I felt so compelled when I read these words of Osho's, and how it rhymes in harmony with me being a surfer, and explaining how the mind functions, and how we can live outside of the mind and go deeper towards our centers. And the mind still exists on the periphery, but when we live by our centers, then we're untouched by our thoughts, by our emotions and everything. So let me share these words of Osho's with you, and I hope you enjoy them. My name is Douglas Grummons, and give me a second and we'll get started. So we'll pick up on page 99 in the book Awareness, The Key to Living in Balance by Osho. And for those of you that don't know, Osho is one of my favorite mystics. He wrote over 650 books, of which I've collected many myself. But anyway, on page 99, Osho says to us, the word control is not a very good, because words cannot be very good. Words belong to the mind, to the world of thoughts. Words cannot be very, very penetrating. They are shallow. The word control is not good because there is nobody to control, and there is nobody to be controlled. But tentatively, it helps to understand a certain thing that happens. And when you look deeply, mind is controlled. Suddenly you have become the master. Thoughts are there, but they are no longer masters of you. They cannot do anything to you. They simply come and go. You remain untouched, just like a lotus flower amidst the rainfall. Drops of water fall on the petals, but they go on slipping. They don't even touch. The lotus remains untouched. And that's why in the East, the lotus became so significant, became symbolic. The greatest symbol that has come out of the East is the lotus. It carries the whole meaning of the Eastern consciousness. It says, be like a lotus, that's all. Remain untouched, and you are in control. Remain untouched, and you are the master. So from one standpoint, the mind is like waves, a disturbance. When the ocean is calm and quiet, undisturbed, the waves are not there. When the ocean is disturbed in a tide of strong wind, when tremendous waves arise and the whole surface is just a chaos, the mind, from one standpoint, exists. And these are all metaphors just to help you understand a certain quality inside, which cannot be said through words. These metaphors are poetic. If you try to understand them with sympathy, you will attain an understanding. But if you try to understand them logically, then you will miss the point, because they are metaphors. Mind is a disturbance of consciousness, just as waves are a disturbance in the ocean. Something foreign has entered, the wind. Something from the outside has happened to the ocean, or on the consciousness of the mind. The wind or the thoughts, and there is chaos, but the chaos is always on the surface. The waves are always on the surface. There are no waves in the depths. There cannot be, because in the depth, the wind cannot enter. So everything is just on the surface. If you move inward, control is attained. If you move inward from the surface, you go to the center, suddenly the surface may still be disturbed, but you are not disturbed. The whole of the science of meditation is nothing but centering, moving towards the center. getting rooted there, abiding there. And then from the whole perspective changes. Now the waves may still be there, but they don't reach you. And now you can see that they don't belong to you. It is just a conflict on the surface with something foreign. And from the center, when you look, by and by, the conflict ceases. By and by, you relax. And by you accept that, of course, there is a strong wind and waves will arise, but you are not worried. And when you are not worried, even waves can be enjoyed. Nothing is wrong in them. The problem arises when you are also on the surface. You are in a small boat on the surface, and a strong wind comes, and it is high tide, and the whole ocean goes up mad. Of course, you are worried, and you are scared to death. You are in danger. Any moment, the waves can overturn your small boat, and any moment, death can occur. What can you do with your small boat? How can you control anything? If you start fighting with the waves, you will be defeated. Fight won't help. You will have to accept the waves. In fact, if you can accept the waves and let your boat, however small, move with them and not against them, then there is no danger. Waves are there, you simply allow. You simply allow yourself to move with them, not against them. You become part of them. Then tremendous happiness arises. And Osho continues on by saying that this is the whole art of surfing, moving with the waves, not against them, with them, so much so that you are not different from them. Surfing can become a great meditation. It can give you glimpses of the inner because it is not a fight. It is a let go. Once you know that, even waves can be enjoyed. And that can be known when you look at the whole phenomenon from the center. Just as if you are a traveler in a forest and clouds have gathered and there is much lightning and you have lost the path and you are trying to hurry towards home. This is what is happening on the surface. A traveler lost. Many clouds, much lightning. Soon there will be a tremendous rain and you are seeking home, the safety of home. Then suddenly, when you reach there, now you sit inside. Now you wait for the rains. Now you can enjoy. Now the lightning has a beauty of its own. It was not so when you were outside, lost in the trees in the forest. But now sitting inside the house, the whole phenomenon is tremendously beautiful. Now the rain comes and you enjoy. Now the lightning is there and you enjoy. And great thunder in the clouds. And you enjoy because now you are safe inside. Once you reach the center, you start enjoying whatsoever happens on the surface. So the whole thing is not to fight on the surface, but rather slip into the center. Then there is mastery, and not a control that has been forced, a mastery that happens spontaneously when you are centered. Centering in consciousness is the mastery of the mind. So don't try to control the mind. The language can mislead you. Nobody can control. And those who try to control will go mad. They will simply go neurotic. Because trying to control the mind is nothing but a part of the mind trying to control another part of the mind. And who are you? Who is trying to control? You are also a wave, a religious wave, of course, trying to control the mind. And there are irreligious waves. There is sex, there is anger, there is jealousy and possessiveness and hatred, and millions of irreligious waves. And then there are religious waves, meditation, love, compassion. But these are all on the surface, of the surface, and on the surface. Religious or irreligious, it makes no difference. Real religion is at the center. And in the perspective that happens through the center, sitting inside your home, you look at your own surface, everything changes because your perspective is new. Suddenly you are the master. In fact, you are in so much in control that you can leave the surface uncontrolled. And this is subtle. You are in control, so rooted, not worried about the surface, that in fact you can enjoy the waves and the tides and the storm. It is beautiful. It gives energy. It gives strength. There is nothing to be worried about it. Only weaklings worry about thoughts. Only weaklings worry about the mind. Stronger people simply absorb the whole, and they are richer for it. Stronger people simply never reject anything. Rejection is out of weakness. You are afraid. Stronger people would like to absorb everything that life gives. Religious, irreligious, moral, immoral, divine, devilish, it makes no difference. The stronger person absorbs everything, and he is richer for it. He has a totality, different depth that ordinarily religious people cannot have. They are poor and shallow. Watch ordinary religious people going to the temple and to the mosque and to the church, and you will always find very, very shallow people with no depth because they have rejected parts of themselves. They have become crippled. They're in a certain way paralyzed. And nothing is wrong in the mind. Nothing is wrong in the thoughts. If anything is wrong, it is remaining on the surface. Because then you don't know the whole and unnecessarily suffer because of the part of the partial perception. A whole perception is needed, and that is possible only from the center. Because from the center you can look all around in all dimensions, in all directions, and the whole periphery at your being, and it is vast. In fact, it is the same as the periphery of existence. Once you are centered, by and by you become wider and wider and bigger, and you will end up being the whole, not less than that. Okay, so those are some beautiful words shared from Osho's book, Awareness, the Key to Living in Balance. And being a surfer, being a meditator, and someone who practices centering quite often, I need it in my life. Once you become centered, and once you feel and you experience things from your center, the center that exists between thoughts, the center that exists um, beyond thoughts. Actually, it comes a time where you feel the need to go inside, the need to feel centered because your life is very unbalanced, it's very chaotic. And I will say that maybe listening to an app or even listening to these videos that I make and listening to my voice and then listen to them without any judgment. Listen to them without thinking yourself. Just be open and be receptive and listen to what I have to say. And it will help bring you to a centering and help you launch yourself into that kind of centering. I mean, I wake up every day and I start my day by reading a little bit of work, reading from one of Osho's books or meditation books, or I've got so many. It's kind of hard to even comprehend now. It's kind of absorbed my life, and I enjoy it. I love it, and I love sharing these things with you and sharing the centering because once you become centered, then you realize that everyone else is pretty much a part of that centering. Even though it may exist on the surface right now, when you feel centered and when you can go into meditation and meditate for say 10, 15 minutes to a half an hour to sometimes an hour. I wouldn't recommend meditating more than an hour at a time because you could get in what they call lost in God's echo. People fall so in love with centering that they reject the outside world and they try to force themselves into an unnatural life living without a center. Excuse me, living in the center with no periphery. The periphery, it has to be there. The surface can be calm and serene and no waves at sometimes, but then the wind comes, chaos comes into your life, and you have to learn to deal with these things. Not and it's not to escape them. Centering does not mean escaping from them. It just means that you're not going to be disturbed. You're not going to be corrupted, or someone will, have their anger in their lives, but you, in a sense, don't absorb that anger yourself. It's all on the surface. It can disturb the surface. That's okay. Let it disturb the surface. But eventually, all storms subside, and then the calmness will come again. And if you observe it all from your center, then from your depths, then it's felt, less and less. It doesn't disturb you in a sense. In fact, you feel grateful in your life that you have such richness in your life that you're able to deal with so many things, and deal with, anger or hatred or jealousy or, any of the negative things, and also enjoy the blissful things like love and meditation and silence and prayer and all the beautiful things that life has to absorb. But when you absorb them with no mind, from a centered person, um, it's as though you're looking through God's eyes, looking through God's eyes and hearing through God's ears. And in fact, you are, when you become centered, you in fact are God's eyes and God's ears. But anyway, once again, thank you for joining me. My name is Douglas Grummons, and like I said, if you wake up every day and listen to one of my videos or one of my podcasts that I've made and put on YouTube, if you listen to them and start your day off listening to them, I'm pretty sure that it will set you in a mind frame that'll help you cope with your day, and hopefully maybe even in a larger picture, cope with your life and deal with life's challenges, and not escape from them. But anyway, once again, thank you for joining me. My name is Douglas Grummons. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.